Is it also the difference why you stopped testing batteries? Because you were talking about that at Livestream. Like, why did you stop testing batteries?
So I got the battery test machine, and I started doing some testing, and I got myself sort of wrapped around the crank a little bit, thinking about how to do the testing right. So part of the problem was I would buy the battery and test the battery, but it was a sample size of 1. And I wasn't convinced that that was like I was actually providing meaningful data with a sample size of 1, but I didn't have the money to buy a sample size of, say, 10 or
Yeah.
something. I saw your battery testing recently, by the way. Very, very cool. Very cool testing you did. The test where you discharged the battery down to 2.9 volts and then saw what effect
Yeah, that
it
was
had.
very interesting for me too.
I've never seen anyone test that and quantify that. It was very, very exciting to
But
see new
I liked
information.
your feedback, a little bit of criticism that you said that I should have bought batteries like kind of sneakily so that manufacturers don't know that I'm gonna do the testing, and like
Yeah.
that's kind of that's possible, you know, that they can
That you
send
get
like
some
best
bin
batteries, you know.
Yep.
I get that, yeah.
I don't actually think manufacturers are going to cherry pick like that. Like I said this. I was talking to Chris Rosser about this recently, actually. And I said, if you buy packs from like Race Day Quads or Pyrodrone or Get FPV, they're just going to go pick them off the shelf. There's no cherry picking there. But if you get packs from like GNB or CNHL, it's at least theoretically possible that they could pull a different cell and make you a special pack. I don't know if they would. I don't think they would, but it's theoretically possible.
So
yeah.
Good. I know that the three of us were in a conversation, and I'm not going to mention who, but we know like several people that own shops that had produced a battery, and we were complaining about the quality of this particular battery. And the behind the scenes story was they were sent a test batch that were exceptionally good.
Yeah.
They ordered
I know someone that
500 or 1,000.
I don't know if it's the same person.
Yep, you probably do know the same people, but
yeah,
they ordered a huge batch based on that test batch, and when the community started using them, they just were not up to par. And of course, Lamone called him on it, and then we heard the story. So
yeah, the manufacturer had screwed them, had given them good packs as samples, and then given them shitty packs with the delivery and kept their money, and they were screwed. So that's the second thing that I sort of got wound up about was if I do the test, then 3 months later, it's a new batch of batteries. Has the quality changed? And I just got myself really, I didn't want to put out information. Part of my brain was like, just do the test, put the video out. People will watch it. You'll get views. You'll get money, revenue. And then who cares? But I felt like if I was going to do scientific testing or real testing, I wanted it to be better than that. And I ended up sort of just being like, well, I don't know how to do this right, so I'm not going to do it. The other side of it was that sourcing batteries is very difficult. There was a big batch of batteries. Race Day Quads basically sent me every battery that they had and asked me to test it. Not every battery, every Race Day Quads battery that they had. And Lumineer sent me, Get FPV sent me a bunch of Lumineer batteries that I tested. And after that, it was very difficult I didn't want to just test one battery and release a video about it. And so it just sort of stalled out. And right now, the machine is going to Chris Rosser because Chris Rosser is trying to do battery testing.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Now it's somebody else's problem. He'll do a good job, and he'll have to deal with those sort of moral, ethical, philosophical questions about how to do the testing right.
Yeah, he probably can do it right. That's like I have no doubts on that. We'll see. Yeah. So, Mr. Eric, thank you very much for $10 super chat. Mr. Eric says, Ivan, keep up the great work. I thought your battery analysis was really enlightening. Well, thank you very much, and thanks for $10 super chat. Appreciate it. So, Mr. Bardwell, we kind of already covered the topic of like shady practices in the business, but I figured like you would know like more shady, like what's the most shady practices in the business that you would know that company was doing or someone else was doing? Just like, share it with us if you don't mind.
Shady practices.
Yeah.
There's inside baseball stuff, but I kind of don't want to I don't want to like call people out about stuff that like there are situations where products have been announced and promised and then not delivered. My God, I'll tell you the shadiest. No, I'll call this. I'll call. So the
All right.
shadiest person in FPV right now, if they are still in FPV, which they may not be, is Flight One.
All right. Well,
Flight One was, as far as I know, taking orders. They took a bunch of orders for a flight controller that they didn't make. They kept all that money, or some people speculate that the money got lost on crypto. There's no evidence. That's just speculation. So they took all this money and they have all these back orders that they can't fill. And then they kept selling like a pyramid scheme. They kept trying to sell orders and promising that they're going to deliver product and not delivering product. And at one point had been over a year. They screwed vendors. There were people who would talk to us off the record, but would not go on the record, who said that they and showed us evidence that they had $5,000, $10,000 orders with Flight One for their store that were never filled, according to them. And a year and a half or so after this went down, you could still place orders on their store, and they would still. I put in a test order just to see if they would take my money.
Oh, did you?
And they did. And it was like, this company is dead. They are never going to fill these orders. They cannot, because in the time that happened, everything got 2 or 3 times more expensive.
Right.
So there is no way they could have bought enough stuff to fill those back orders. They could. So, and now, of course, the company is.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Mr. Neil was flying Flight One for a long time, and he's not even feeling guilty for that. Look at that.
No, well, at the time that I was flying it, like I luckily stopped flying it before all that happened, or I would also be one of those people who had placed pre-orders and didn't get them.
But
like,
also,
I was just.
Yeah, but I feel like Mr. Bardwell trying to like sleep off because and talk about drama that everyone knows about. So the question.
Well, that's
question
at this time. It seems like the store, the products are marked as unavailable.
All right, well that's good. What's
no,
available?
Flight controllers at least are marked as unavailable. Are they? Pre-order the Lightning H7 is marked as pre-order. Can you still buy a flight controller? No, I don't think you can. They still supposedly will sell you the motors anyway.
So besides that, like if we include like a Flight One, everyone knows about it, right? So we need to like, have you ever discovered something shady or unethical in FPV? And like, well, besides Flight One, what's the most? Just tell us.
Like companies selling shitty product and not standing behind it, not having like doing returns and stuff. Everybody knows about that too.
We need the names.
We need the names. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barrel said yeah.
I'm not going to start shit.
All right. Yeah.